tell you, the fall colors, they sure aren't coloring very fast. This time of the year, usually we're starting to really make some changes in the colors. It's I think October 15th or 16th or something. By my birthday, which is just a week or two, a week and a half, we should be in full color, but we're not. Carolyn wanted to go down to one of the conservation areas for the fall, you know, take a ride. She's hoping maybe we could get the dogs in the truck and let them walk around in the water and stuff, which would be kind of nice. But the fall colors sure aren't coming in. We still may take the dogs down there. Might be an opportunity to give them a little bit of a bath if they'll get in the water. I don't know if they'll get in the water, but might rinse them off a bit. So not much going on. I got a call today, possibly a new customer. I felt pretty comfortable that he's gonna show up. You know what's funny is the people that own two homes, one in Kansas City or Kansas, and one down here, they're usually pretty reliable customers. They will bring their stuff in. And the reason is because, you know, when they come down on the weekend, they need their mower to run. And you know, they live in a rich neighborhood in this area, so they just need it to run. And when it doesn't run, you know, they got to get it fixed, and they got to coordinate all that while they're down here for the weekend. So they're pretty reliable. But, you know, you just never can tell. You know, I've been really trying to figure out business strategies, and, you know, I know that we take a hit because we don't have a shop, a real shop and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, my age, I look old. So I think, Carolyn and I was talking about this today, you know, I'm clean cut, got a haircut, I look presentable, and I look old, like I know what I'm doing. So that might override the fact that I don't have a shop. And then when we get into the conversation, you know, I've done this in my past, I was doing this, and we moved over here and just thought, you know, this would be kind of a nice hobby business to kind of run me into my retirement. I have other sources of income, you know, that kind of stuff. I think people start to understand, oh yeah, I can trust this guy. I've talked a lot about this channel about pricing. And I can't seem to understand folks and their pricing method. And today they really kind of explained it out on the Facebook groups. They were talking about, you know, don't undercharge, you're going to get the worst customers. But you got to think that no matter what charges you apply, you're going to get the worst customers. I mean, 80% of your business, or 80% of your time in business, 80% of your time is dealing with 10% of your customers. And that's true. And the way I handle that is I just don't deal with them very long. There are times that I can see right away, before I even take the job, that they're going to be difficult. So I don't even bother with them. Right at the beginning. I told you about this guy who had a deck issue on his mower, and he wanted me to work on this ancient thing, and I said no, and he said yes, and I said no, and he said yes, and finally I said, well, I'm just not going to work on anything, and put both of his mowers back in his truck. You know, he was going to be a problem. He didn't want to spend a lot of money. That was obvious. So you just identify that up front. And when they do become a problem, you know, here's what you do is I have a guy right now. I think I've already addressed this issue. And again, my age came into play because he started saying yes, sir, at the end of the conversation versus, hey. So he brought his mower over and said it was having problems. So I opened up the carburetor and I noticed that the gas was bad. I drained the gas, put new gas in, it ran fine. Well, a day later comes back, says, hey, it's doing it again. So I want a new carburetor. So I bought a new carburetor and I did the labor for free. And it's done fine ever since. Well, months later, 6 months later, he says, it's doing it again. Well, I know he's doing something wrong. And what it is the float is sticking in the carburetor. He's going up a huge hill, I'm sure of it, and it's sticking the carburetor. So here's what I told him. I said, okay, I'll work on it one more time. I will replace the carburetor at my cost, and then you need to sell that lawnmower because there's something wrong with it that's beyond repair. Carburetors don't go out like that. There's something wrong with it. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you're supposed to bring it here October 1st. Here it is, what, October 15th? And I was going to repair it for free. I told him this repeatedly to the point that Carolyn was getting frustrated with me. Like, just, shh, he's got the point. So, but he didn't bring it. So I've addressed that. And you just address it, at least to me, at least I feel like it, you just address it quickly. Just get it out of the way. Drop these customers. You know, I had a commercial customer. He wanted everything done on warranty. It didn't matter what it was. He wanted everything done on warranty. I dealt with that a couple times, and that was over. And I'm pretty sure that, you know, the Facebook group has watched this video, my channel, this one guy has decided to make a stink about it. You got to have good customers, because I mean, he's mentioned specifically, yeah, you replace carburetor, and all of a sudden now they want the belt change for free, which I've said in this video, or in these videos. So, you know, it's just interesting how all that works out. But I really do feel like that, as far as pricing, you got to be competitive for your area. Now, what is competitive for my area? There's nobody else around doing this. You can go to the bigger towns and they'll charge you 4 times the amount what I'm charging, 4 times. But you got to think, the folks around here are not taking their mowers over there. The rich people aren't even taking their mowers over there. What they're doing is they're loading up their lawnmowers and taking it back to Kansas City, to their hometown. So it's easier if they can find someone around here to do it, but then they don't want to go to the bigger towns and deal with those big companies. They just want somebody that's going to be local, that they can just drop it off real quick and get back to their weekend. You got to figure they're only here for a weekend. They don't want to drive all over the country trying to get their mower. So what is competitive? Could I charge a higher rate? Maybe, but I don't think I'd get as many customers. You know, volume is important. And you just got to be careful. You got to be always analyzing your business model, especially when you're a small business. You know, the Subway, I just watched a video and they did this $5 foot long for years, and they made business with volume of customers. You know, they were charging for the chips, you know, and charging for the soda, so they're getting more money, and they were making a profit. Everybody was making a profit. Everybody was making money. So volume, Walmart focus on volume. Well, my time's more valuable than that. And one guy said on the Facebook group that you can sit on the couch and not make any money, or you can be out there working on lawnmowers and not making any money. Which I don't see how you're not making money. I'm making money. I don't get it. Just because you're not making as much money as you would like doesn't mean you're not making money. I'm making money. If I was just sitting here on my couch, I wouldn't be making any money. But he said, I'd just rather sit on my couch and not make any money. Well, I don't see that. You're not building customer relations. You're not building a business. Even if you wanted to raise your prices later, you can't, because they don't trust you yet. You got to build a trust with your business. And like I said, you know, we've been doing this for 2 years, and I think I'm going to raise my prices a little bit next year. I also tried to figure out ways to make the business easier for myself. So we bought that ultrasonic cleaner, and that way we can clean carburetors quicker, easier, get the mowers turned around faster. We don't have to wait for parts. Don't have to rely on the mailman and Amazon. I mean, that's always a fiasco. And you lose trust. You know, you give a guy an estimated delivery date and you can't because Amazon doesn't show up. So again, you know, all this little bit of stuff will help me make more money. No, you just got to charge more. Here's what I say. The local mechanic for cars, the car mechanic, charges 4 times more than I do. The car mechanic. So he charges as much as the guys down there at the big town to work on lawnmower. He's always busy. Now, you go to that big town, they're charging $150 to $200 an hour for cars, to repair cars. So I'm charging less than the mechanic who has a shop, an actual shop. He has overhead, he has employees, he has a front desk, he's got 2 mechanics that work for him. He's got all the tools and equipment that you need. So he's got a lot of overhead that he's got to deal with, electric and, you know, rent, or, you know, loans, tool loans, you know, all that stuff he's got to make money at. Yet he's still charging less than what they're charging into those big towns. So how can someone expect me to charge as much as he's charging for cars to work on lawnmowers? It just doesn't add up in my head. I don't get it. I don't think it's a good business model. I would rather start out at a too low of a price and not make any money, which that's just not true. I am making money. You know, I know these trolls keep telling me you're not making any money. How do they know what I'm making? How do they know what I'm putting away every day? They don't. I'm making money. You're just gonna have to trust me on that. But anyway, I don't understand how I'm not making. Oh, I know where I was going with this. So, you know, you charge, and let's say you're not making any money, and then the next year you have more trust in the area about your business, and that you're reliable, and you'll do what you say you'll do, and you fix things, and if you have a problem, you go right back and you try to correct the problem, and then the next year you can raise your prices, and people, they won't complain too much. And the thing is as far as getting the worst of the worst customers because you charge less, nobody knows what I charge. Rarely does anybody ask, hey, what's your hourly rate? What I always stick to, and I think this is important in this business, is what do you charge? Well, I'll tell you what, you bring your lawnmower over, I'll diagnose it, I'll tell you what it's going to cost to fix, and then we can go from there. Well, that does a couple things. One, they'll bring it over, and you know, it's going to pretty much solidify that I'm going to get the job, because they're not going to want to pick it up it not running. The other thing is they won't try to go get an estimate from another company. They'll just say, well, okay, you know, it's there. So it kind of forces, I don't want to say force, but it kind of locks people into saying, well, yeah, let's just go ahead and fix it. It's just more convenient, easier. So nobody knows what I charge. I just have to be honest about it. And then I have fixed prices, which it makes me a ton of money. You know, as far as fixing a lawnmower, yeah, sometimes you wonder, did I make any money on that job? I mean, I do. I always make money. I never lose money. I make sure of that. But as far, when I say lose money, you know, I'm thinking like the people on Facebook. Am I losing money? Well, let's say I quoted or estimated 2 hours of work. Just did this John Deere. The deck was all messed up. Well, when I actually got into it, there was a lot more problems with it than what I had figured. So instead of 2 hours of work, it took 3 hours of work. Well, I didn't charge for that third hour. Oh, you lost money there. Well, no, I didn't lose money. How did I lose money? I didn't, I just, I had to beat out a deck with a hammer. I don't know where that's losing money. It's not like I had any extra work sitting right behind it waiting for me to do something. So I think a lot of about money, I think what it is ego. I think ego gets in people's way. They think they're more valuable than what they actually are. And I've said this before. People are more inclined just to go buy another mower than spend a lot getting the old one repaired. They're just more inclined to do it. So if you're going to complain that these junk mowers they produce nowadays, they're not worth fixing, they're just junk, well, it's because you're charging too much. If you can't get anybody to give you money to work on your mower because they want to go out and buy a new one because this one's not worth fixing, then, and the other thing is like weed eaters. I mean, a weed eater, you can go get a weed eater for $150. Somebody brings you a weed eater, hey, can you fix that? Yeah, $600, I got you covered. No, they're just going to go out and buy a weed eater. It's a lot easier. But when you charge less, and again, I don't see how I'm losing money. There may be one day where I'm so busy that I can't really afford to spend time on a weed eater for a low cost. In which case, I might say, well, I just can't do weed eaters anymore. But for now, I spend, here's the thing, is I charge X amount of dollars per hour. So if I only spend half hour on something, I'm still getting that hour's pay. So I can do 2 weed eaters, 2 people in an hour, let's just say. And so I've made double of what I normally would charge for an hour's worth of work, if that makes sense. So I don't get this. Oh no, I'm worth a lot. You're not worth anything. You're not worth a dime. You're only worth what somebody's willing to pay for. So don't tell me what you're worth. I'll tell you what you're worth. That's just the way it is when it comes to, if I'm the customer, I will tell you what you're worth. If I'm going to give you money, then you're worth it. If I'm not going to give you money, you're not worth it. So if you'll click this up next box and take the video where I was on my other channel working on something, I'd really appreciate it if you go check it out. So if I can inspire you to really analyze your worth so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.